Hello, second graders. Welcome back to Read Aloud Time. And we are going to finish chapter 9, The Door in the Roped Off Tunnel. So we read the first part a few days ago, and we're going to finish up the second part today. And we're going to find out what happens when Lena and Dune go down into the pipeworks and look for this secret door. Lena stopped at home the next day only long enough to change out of her messenger jacket, and then she dashed across town to the pipeworks. Dune met her just outside the door, and she followed him inside, where he handed her a slicker and boots to put on. They descended the long stone stairway, and when they came out into the main tunnel, Lena stood still, staring at the river. "I didn't know the river was so big," she said after she found her voice. "Yes," said Dune. "Every few years, they say, someone falls in. If you fall in, there's no hope of fishing you out. The river swallows you and sweeps you away." Thanks. Lena shivered. It was cold down here, a cold that she felt all the way through. Cold flesh, cold blood, cold bones. Ooh, brr. Dune led her up the path beside the water. After a while, they came to an opening in the wall, and they turned into it and left the river behind. Dune led the way through winding tunnels. Their rubber boots splashed in pools of water on the floor. Lena thought how awful it would be to work down here all day, every day. It was a creepy place, a place where it seemed people didn't belong. That black river, it was something in a bad dream. "You have to duck here," said Loon. Said Dune, not Loon. They had come to a roped-off tunnel. "But there's no light in here," Lena said. "No," said Dune. "We have to feel our way. It isn't far." He ducked under the rope and went in, and Lena did the same. They stepped forward into the dark. Lena kept a hand against the damp wall and placed her feet carefully. "It's right here," said Dune. He had stopped a few feet ahead of Lena. She came up behind him. "Put your hands out," he said. "You'll feel it." Trying to feel their way. Lena felt a smooth, hard surface. There was a round metal knob, and below the knob, a keyhole. It seemed an ordinary door, not at all like the entrance to a new world. But that was what made things so exciting. Nothing was ever how you expected it to be. "Let's try it," she whispered. Dune took hold of the knob and twisted. "Locked," he said. "Is there a pan anywhere?" "A pan?" The instructions said small steel pan. Maybe that would have the key in it. They felt around, but there was nothing, just the rocky walls. They patted the walls. They put their ears to the door. They jiggled the knob and pulled it and pushed it. Finally, Dune said, "Well, we can't get in. I guess we'd better go." Oops. We'll just leave the light. And that was when they heard the noise. It was a scuffling, scraping noise that seemed to be coming from somewhere nearby. Lena stopped breathing. She clutched Dune's arm. "Quick," Dune whispered. He made his way back toward the lighted tunnel with Lena following. They ducked under the rope and rounded a turn, then stopped, stood still, and listened. A harsh, scraping sound, a thud, a pause, and then the sound of an impact, a short, explosive breath, and a muttered word in a gruff, low voice. Then slow footsteps getting closer and closer. They flattened themselves against the wall and stood motionless. The footsteps stopped briefly, and there was another grunt. Then the steps continued, but seemed to be fading. In a moment, from a distance, there was another sound. The chink of a key turning in a lock, and the click of a latch opening. Lena made an astonished face at Dune. Someone had gone down the rope tunnel and opened the door. She put her mouth close to Dune's ear. "Shall we try to see who it is?" she whispered. Dune shook his head. "I don't think we should," he said. "We should go." "We could just peek around the corner." It was too tempting not to try. They crept forward to the place where the tunnel turned. From there they could see the entrance to the roped tunnel. Holding their breath, they watched. And in a minute they heard a thump and a click, the door closing, the lock turning, and footsteps once again, this time quick. A long leg stepped over the rope, and the person it belonged to turned and walked away. All they saw was his back. A dark coat, dark untidy hair. He walked with a lurching motion that struck Lena as somehow familiar. In a few seconds he had vanished into the shadows. When they came up out of the pipeworks, they stripped off their boots and slickers and hurried out into Plummer's Square, where they flopped down on a bench and burst into furious talk. "Someone got there before us," said Lena. June said, "He was walking slowly when he went in, as if he was looking for something. And he walked fast when he came out, as if he'd found something. What was it? I can't stand not to know." June jumped up. He paced back and forth in front of the bench. "How did he get the key?" he asked. "Did he find the instructions like the ones you found? And how did he get into the pipeworks? I don't think he works there." "There's something familiar about the way he walks," said Lena, "but I don't know why." "Well, anyhow, he opened the door and we can't," said Dune. "If it does go somewhere, if it does lead out of Ember, he'll be telling the whole city pretty soon." "He'll be a hero." Dune sat down again. "If he's found the way out, we'll be glad, of course," he said glumly. "It doesn't matter who finds it, as long as it helps the city." "That's right," Lena said. "It's just that I thought we were going to find it," said Dune. "Yes," Lena said, thinking how grand it would have been to stand before all of Ember announcing their discovery. They sat without talking for a while, lost in their own thoughts. A man pulling a cart full of wood scraps went by. A woman leaned from a lighted window on Grappery Street and called out to some boys playing in the square below. A couple of guards in their red and brown uniforms ambled across the square, laughing. The town clock rang out 6 deep booms that Lena could feel like shudders beneath her ribs. Dune said, "I guess what we do now is wait to see if there's an announcement." "I guess so," said Lena. "Maybe that door is nothing special after all," said Dune. "Maybe it's just an old, unused supply closet." But Lena wasn't ready to believe it. Maybe it wasn't the door out of Ember, but it was a mystery nonetheless. A mystery connected, she was sure, to the bigger mystery they were trying to solve. Right? So that is the end of chapter 9. So they're a little bit disappointed that somebody got to that door, to that room before them. But they're also like, well, maybe they found the way out or they discovered something and they're going to announce it pretty soon. So I guess we just have to wait and see if there's going to be an announcement. And Dune is feeling a little bit sad because he wanted to be the one to make the big announcement, to do something meaningful to help his city. All right, so the next chapter, chapter 10, is called Blue Sky and Goodbye. I wonder what that's about. Blue sky and goodbye. We'll have to wait until next week to find out. Have a wonderful rest of your day, scholars.